Okay, so starting off with Copilot for Microsoft 365, we're going to be demonstrating how Copilot can boost productivity in Microsoft. So before I jump into the demonstrations, I just want to briefly explain what Copilot is, how it works, and how it fits into your workflow. So Copilot for Microsoft 365 is the primary interface through which you and your employees will interact with artificial intelligence. So you don't need to understand any of the underlying models or the data science behind it. You just engage with Copilot through natural language. So really quick how Copilot works. When you make a request to Copilot via a message or what we call a prompt, Copilot processes the request and generates a response using large language models, which is the whole machine learning technology. Also, it uses content from Microsoft Graph, which is your organization's data, and sometimes web content. So it's designed to understand how you work, your role in the organization, your most frequent tasks, even the apps you use, and then help you get things done more efficiently. So when you make a request to Copilot via a message or a prompt, Copilot processes the request and generates a response using large language models, which is the machine learning technology, content from Microsoft Graph, which is your organization's data, and sometimes web content. So it's designed to understand how you work, your role in the organization, your most frequent tasks, even the apps that you use, and then help you get things done more efficiently. So whether you're drafting an email, you're analyzing data in Excel, or you're planning something in Teams, Copilot is designed to fit seamlessly into that business process. And it doesn't just stop with these apps. As you'll see later on, Copilot is across the entire Microsoft 365 space. So the first demo I'm going to show will be showcasing Copilot in Word. It's going to be based on data analysis and market research. So you're going to use Copilot in Word to jumpstart this creative process without having to start from scratch. So firstly, we want to process the details from this document to create a payment plan that the company could then use with its customers. So I'm going to open up a new Word document to create this plan. And as I open Word, I see the Copilot icon right here, which I can click on to get started drafting with Copilot. So firstly, I'm going to reference that payment plan document, which we just saw. I'm going to click here and choose that document. And I'm going to ask Copilot to create a payment plan contract based on this document. Ask it to generate that, and with one prompt and a few seconds, Copilot is able to create a pretty solid first draft. So in reading through the document here, I noticed that it's missing a terms and agreement section. So before I decide to keep the draft, I can actually ask Copilot to include that section. So I'm going to say add a terms and agreement section and send it. So here I read it through again. I notice that that section is included. I can go ahead and keep it. I could also choose to rewrite certain sections of the document. So for example, the terms and agreement part here, I can ask Copilot to rewrite it. So Copilot gives me 3 different options, and I can also choose to adjust the tone to one of these pre-configured options. Once I'm okay with this rewritten paragraph, I can go ahead and replace the existing one. So Copilot also has this Inspire Me feature. So instead of spending time thinking of an introduction, Copilot pretty much gives you options instantly. It can offer you fresh perspectives and phrasing that you may not be thinking of. Right, so from the initial draft, Copilot would have already given me the customer signatures, the names, the dates, etc. to sign. So I can read it through and I can ask Copilot to just keep, say, the last 2 paragraphs. I don't want the entire thing. Copilot processes my request and it keeps just the last 2 paragraphs. And just like that, the document is complete. Now, you should always revise, confirm that everything generated by Copilot is accurate before you really use it. But it just goes to show how, documents such as contracts, which would involve payment schedules, interest calculations, other financial terms, Copilot can handle all these complexities pretty accurately and efficiently.
Justin,
Hey,
sorry
Justin,
to interrupt. Can
okay.
you zoom in a bit?
I can't zoom in. I'm sorry. It will not allow me to zoom in more.
Okay.
Sorry about that. But yeah, this was just a pretty quick example of Copilot in Word. The next demonstration I have is going to showcase Copilot in Excel. Just give me a sec to pull it up. Okay. So for this demo, the setting is that we just came out of a meeting. We're receiving a spike in customer complaints. we don't know exactly what the issue is, and we're not sure how long it's been happening. So we're going to use Copilot to find and address the issue before our e-bike goes to the market. So we use Excel to track call center metrics in a spreadsheet. So here, for example, I went ahead and pulled out, say, the last 6 months of customer calls, since we're not exactly sure where the issue is, but it's a recent issue. So I'm going to pull up Copilot here on the side, and I'm going to ask it to create a new column for me to show me the average number of calls per customer complaint as a percentage. So if someone was to ask me to do this, what are the percentage of complaints that are about limited range or the uncomfortable seat? It would take me a little while to determine how to formulate this. I would probably have to Google how to do equations and make sure I get the right thing, but Copilot does it in just a few seconds. And it also, as you can see, gives you a sort of preview before you actually add your column to the sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and say the column here. So already I can see that 27% of the complaints are related to the range. On the bike, the next thing I can do is, this data is a bit difficult to read and understand where the high percentages are. I can actually go into my Copilot notebook. I can create a red, yellow, green color scale. So I'm going to click on this prompt that's pre-made, and I just need to tell Copilot which column to apply the scale to. So we want to apply it to this calls per complaint percentage column. Again, Copilot gives me a short preview of what it's going to apply, and I can just click and apply it. So now I can see, okay, a lot of the complaints are about the range. There's 10.5% complaining about brakes and rubber, uncomfortable seat, etc. Using natural language again, I can ask Copilot to sort this column by the percentage value. Again, I just hit apply and it does it for me. Now, this is a lot of data to process, and it's a bit difficult if I want to show a manager or I want to show the production team. So what I can do as well is I can ask Copilot to create a chart. Maybe I want to create a chart for the average calls per complaint, something a bit easier to digest visually. I'm going to go ahead and ask Copilot to do that. And there it goes, again with the preview. And whenever Copilot creates graphs or it creates charts, it always adds it to a new sheet so that it doesn't interfere with your original data. Just go ahead and click add to new sheet. And just like that, we're able to drill down into the data and see what most of the complaints were about, and also create a chart which we could use to share with others internally. So that's a brief demo of Copilot in Excel. The next demo up that I have is going to showcase Copilot in Outlook. Let me go ahead and grab that. Okay, so for this scenario, let's just say we spent a long morning discussing and resolving the unknown issues that the customers have been having. And now we need to update our emails. So maybe we didn't look at our emails for a few hours. It's been a very busy day and we just want to get through them quickly, but we want to make sure we're not making any mistakes as we do so. So once again, in the top right corner, I'm going to go ahead and pull up Copilot. And immediately I see I have some prompts that I can use. I can find a file that someone sent to me. I can summarize all the emails that mention me. And I can also ask Copilot to give me more information on a specific topic. So I'm going to go ahead and select stay on top and see the emails that mention me. So here I can see there's two emails. There's one from Isaiah and there's another message from Lee. I can also click here and get a preview of the email that Copilot is referencing. So let's go ahead and open up this specific email here from Isaiah. Okay, so here I can see there's a lot going on. This customer Nestor seems to have filed a complaint. I could use Copilot to actually summarize this email thread and give me the key points. So this would be very useful, for example, if you're now coming back out to work after being off for some time and there's some important discussion going on in a thread and no one is available to sit down and explain to you the situation, you could use Copilot to summarize that. Now, reading the summary here, I can see that Nestor is deeply dissatisfied with our service. They want the matter escalated, and Isaiah wants me to address this. So let's go ahead here and reply to Nestor. I'm going to do that using Copilot. So I don't need to think of the exact wording, the exact phrasing, and sentence structure for my response. I just need to have an idea of what I want my response to say. So we're asking Copilot to write a response, apologizing for the inconvenience, include that we're working on design changes and that an article about the issue is actually coming out soon. Copilot is going to generate that first draft email. So here I can read through it. I can see it sounds fine, but maybe I want to make it a bit more personal. This customer perhaps means a lot to me, or they're very dissatisfied. We want to reassure the customer a bit. Now it sounds a bit better. I know how frustrating that must be. I hope this helps. Please let me know if you have any further questions. Maybe I also want to add a next paragraph speaking on our commitment and how much we value feedback. I can ask Copilot to include that as well. So here we're able to see the additional paragraph there that speaks to our commitment and how much we value customers' feedback. Thank you for choosing us. I hope to hear from you soon. We value your feedback. I can go ahead and keep it. Now, I would still suggest reading through the entire draft to make sure this is what you want to send. And of course, you'll have to do some light formatting when you do get your final draft. So just going to put my space in here. Here's where you'd put your custom signature or maybe a phrase that we always close up the emails with, and we will send that off. Now we can look at this response, this draft email that we had here that we were going to send to Lee. So before I send the email out, I can actually use coaching by Copilot. So I'm just going to read through the email here. Lee wants an update on the situation pretty much, and I was about to send him one, but I'm going to use coaching by Copilot to give me some tips. So first thing I can see, Copilot is telling me that my email communication is effective, but that the tone could be a bit warmer. I see my email acknowledges the issue, but there's room to improve. There's room to involve them further as well in the process. And lastly, clarity. Although the email is clear, Copilot is saying that I can include more specific details for the recipient. So taking these tips into consideration, I can start by making the tone, let's just say, a bit warmer. So I can say, thank you, Lee, for the observation. We've identified a key area for improvement. I can also offer more clarity. So I can let him know that there's a plan to include new battery technology. And I can also welcome Lee to give us any additional insight or just make the entire email a bit more warm. We appreciate what he's given us. If he has any more insight, we are welcome to it. And just like that, we're able to polish up the document and send it out to Lee without having to think too strongly about our sentence structures and all of that. So with Copilot, writing emails becomes faster, it becomes smarter, and for me, it becomes less stressful. And the last demo that I have for you all is going to be a demo of Copilot in Teams meetings. So for this scenario, we actually are that person, Lee, who we were just responding to. Right, so Lee and his team here are in a kickoff meeting discussing what is needed for the next e-bike release. So they want to make sure that they capture all their needed tasks, their issues, and their next steps. So right now the meeting is going on. Let's just say you stepped away for a minute or you got an important phone call and you had to take it on the side. You can actually open up Copilot and use the recap feature. So I'm going to go into more prompts. I'm going to ask Copilot to recap the meeting for me so far. So Copilot will actually catch you up on what has been covered so far. So here I see we were talking about hiring a new bike mechanic. We were talking about marketing collateral for the e-bike, but a few different topics were discussed. Now, let's just say I wanted more information on the bike mechanic that we're hiring. Maybe this is the part that I walked away from. I can ask Copilot who was tasked with finding this new bike mechanic. So Copilot will analyze the meeting transcript and extract that information for you in real time. So here I'm able to see, okay, Isaiah is tasked with finding the new mechanic. Let's just say the meeting is wrapping up. I want to make sure everything has been covered. Nothing is being left, no stone left unturned. I can ask Copilot to suggest some follow-up questions for me and make sure that I've covered all my grounds. So these are some questions that I can ask. How much are we allocating for the marketing campaign? What are the criteria for the magazines? What specific skills are we looking for when we're hiring this new bike person? So now that the meeting is done, maybe I asked these questions, maybe I didn't. I can actually go into the recording and see the recap for the meeting. So even if I was late to the meeting, I joined after everyone else, I still have access to all the conversations that happened before I joined. So right here, I'm able to see the meeting notes, which is pretty much a summary of what was discussed, but I can also do more with Copilot here still. So I can ask Copilot actually to list the action items for me. So immediately I see hiring a new mechanic, and it also tells me who is tasked with that. So I see Isaiah needs to draft a general mechanic job description. I see Alex is in charge of drafting the brochures. Myself and Alex here need to discuss the budget for magazine and website advertisements. So from this, I can plan future meetings. I can check in with the different team members to see how each person is progressing with their individual tasks as well. And just from that, we see how Copilot becomes sort of your personal advanced note taker, ensuring that you capture all of the meeting details and you're able to create follow-up items easily without you having to make notes while your meeting is going on. And yes, that is Copilot in Teams meetings. So that brings us to the end of the demonstration for the Copilot for Microsoft 365 segment.